Hi there, Bill Hitchcock. Another fantastic program for you. It's again one of those shows I didn't anticipate doing, but things have come up. We're going to be talking about the opening of the Flounder season. The Wildlife Resources Commission has instituted, and we're going to talk about why. What did you benefit from it? Because we're going to get into great detail about this, because you're not allowed in the coastal area to flounder fish, but you can on the inland and joint waters, and we're going to point those out with a map to show you those things. But before we get going, I wanted to point this out. Look at that, Captain George Beckworth with Down East Charters, one of his charters right before Debbie showing up. Big old, big old drum out there in Pamlico Sound. Yep, there's another big old drum out in the Pamlico Sound. So congratulations to Captain George Beckworth. By the way, those drum, they're like 40, 50 pounds. At that size, they're also about 40, 50 years old. They can even be older than that. So, handle them with care, let them go. You can't keep a drum that big. And if you got fishy pictures, send them to me, billhitchcock@mail.com. As a matter of fact, let me just get started with this. We can disagree, that's fine. Send me your comments, post your comments at YouTube, but I've been asking people since day one, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Send me the information that shows me I'm wrong in anything I talk about. I always have the documents with me. I always have the law, the statute, the amendment, whatever it may be that I'm reading directly from. And that upsets a lot of people because sometimes it ain't what you want to hear. Well, this is not a mutual admiration society. I'm just after the truth. And speaking of which, look at this little meme. Yep, the truth. Some people don't want to hear it. That's all I can tell you right now. So, but email me with any information. Correct me if it's commercial. If it proves that commercial fishermen are doing something bad, wrong, illegal, let's have it, please. If there's a biological paper that you've got on a flounder or a king mackerel or a bluefin tuna, send it. Let's look at it. If you got a program ideas, send it on along. And by the way, YouTube is a very interesting place for comments. I welcome them all. I welcome your opinions. That's fine. Again, we don't have to agree. I'm not here to collect or to convert somebody or get converts and devout folks. I'm just here for the truth. Let's get it out. But here's one thing that I'm now going to start responding to. When somebody posts at YouTube, because you won't do it in an email, thank you, but on YouTube, which is public, sometimes you've used the foulest language that's on this planet Earth. And that's just not acceptable. I leave it up there. You know why? Because it doesn't hurt me. It hurts you. You're showing your backside by posting foul language. Also, questions like who's paying you? He's being paid by the commercial fisherman. I've told you a dozen times on a dozen shows, no, I'm not paid by anybody. Hitchcock Television, my production company, is footing the bill for all of this. I'm not being paid by anybody. It's the last time I'm saying that, okay? And if anybody keeps posting that, and some of you are just doing it as a tactic to paint me as a bad guy. And by the way, why don't you ask all the other people that you watch, who's paying you? Anyway, I've come up with a thing called a keyboard clown. Watch this. And the way you become a keyboard clown is when you go to YouTube, a public place, and post profanity. Unacceptable. Act like a grown-up, not like a spoiled child that is, or 4-year-old with his cookie was just stolen from him. All right? So, and what I'll do is I'll list your little name thing on the keyboard clown when you pull that type of antics, or if you continue, who's paying you? After I've told you a dozen times, no one. It'll be obvious when somebody's helping to pay for this. It'll be obvious because you'll see them. What a concept. Now, I'm tired. I'm really tired of all that mess. We're going to get on with about the flounder. Why is this a victory for you? It makes zero sense, particularly since all of y'all say, I'm conservation minded. No, you're not. But let's get on to something very, very important. The most important thing that we're going to talk about today, and probably ever, is human life. We've had storms. We know we had Debbie that was came on through North Carolina. We had flooding. We also had storms afterwards here along the coast. I live on the coast. I see what happens. Matter of fact, take a look at this. This is a picture 3 days after Debbie. It's just a humongous storm where thousands of lightning strikes were recorded. It happened at 3 in the morning. This is just a coastal storm. These things happen. But this is what I'm talking about. This came from the town of Pine Knoll Shores. They said yesterday Pine Knoll Shores Police Department had too many conversations with individuals and families not obeying these flags. They're talking about the 2 red flags that are out on the beach, which means it's closed. Don't go in the water. There's 2 flags. By the way, the 2 flags up there, that's hurricane. One will be on top of the other. Not 1 flag, but 2 flags. That's hurricane. But on the beach, when you see 2 flags, that means the beach, the water is closed. The town of Pine Knoll Shores goes on to say, please do not put them, talking about their police and EMS, put them in that position again today. If our fire EMS need to go in the water to rescue someone on a no swimming double red flag, civil citations will be issued. Don't go in the water when you see 2 red flags. As a matter of fact, I'm putting this graphic up. It comes from Atlantic Beach, I believe. It describes what these flags are all about. 2 red flags, the water is closed. 1 red flag, they're advising you don't, which is highly advisable. Then you've got yellow flags that says it could be worse, but you should watch out for moderate surf and or conditions. The green is say get in there. Green's wonderful. Jump on in there. Usually this time of year you see yellow up all the time with interspersed with red. Now purple, not everybody is familiar with what the purple flag means. In a nutshell, it means there is a presence of marine critters that could be hurtful, harmful. Not only sharks, it could be Portuguese man-of-wars, it could be sea nettles, those little, it actually looks like they're in the snail family as I recall, but it gets underneath your swimsuit and itchy and breakout and rash. So the purple just means you can get in the water, but there might be something swimming around out there that you don't want to encounter. So please, people, I don't know if all the towns are issuing citations for people that get in the water when there's 2 red flags. Some of them say no swimming. They might not. They probably won't. If you just see 2 red flags, do not get in the water. Pine Knoll Shores is writing out a ticket if they have to come out there and rescue you. And I will leave you with this just as a cautionary note. Again, I live on the coast. I'm down on the beach all the time. One of the things that upsets me most, that I see most often rather, is that mom, dad, grandmother, grandfather, they've got their child or grandchildren that are 4 or 5 years old that are down in the surf, playing around, having a good time, but the parent, grandparent is 50 yards, 75 yards, 100 yards away from them. It only takes a second, folks. It only takes a second for disaster to happen. And keep in mind that 1 cubic yard of seawater weighs almost a ton. I mean, that's a lot of weight. That's a lot of momentum. That's a lot of force. So please, if you got little kids, be with them. Well, they're a strong swimmer. You cannot, an Olympic swimmer cannot swim the surf when it's, or a riptide even. I do want to bring this up. What's it called? The National Weather Service, they have what they call an experimental beach forecast webpage where you can go to it and take a look and see what the surf conditions are supposed to be like, but never always depend on your eyeballs when you go down the surf. If it just looks, rough, don't do it. Please, I know you might have come from a long ways away and done all sorts of things, but please be safe. Now, let's get on to it. Oh, the other thing, I see that gubernatorial candidate here in North Carolina, Josh Stein, has issued comments that he's against the closure of Flounder and that he'd help do stuff. We're going to get more into that. Not today, but we're going to get more into it as we progress forward. Now, I've gone on and done the same thing again, gone almost 9 minutes before I got on into it. Let's read this. The North Carolina Wildlife Commission announces limited 2024 flounder season. This is coming from WWAY News out of Wilmington. Good for them. Oh, bother. Let's see here. There's the Josh Stein interactive experimental. It doesn't matter. Forget it. This is what they say. The report is the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission has approved a temporary amendment to the flounder fishing regulations for 2024. Following a decision made at the recent Wildlife Resources Commission business meeting and subsequent approval by the North Carolina Rules Review Commission, recreational flounder fishing will be allowed on 2 specific weekends this September. Okay, so you get 2 weekends, 4 days. They go on to say, according to the Wildlife Resources Commission, the 2024 recreational flounder season will be open for hook and line fishing in inland fishing waters and joint fishing waters on September 1 and 2 and September 7 and 8. Anglers will be limited to a daily creel of 1 flounder, minimum size of 15 inches. And that's a victory. Let me show you where coastal fishing waters are, joint fishing waters, and inland fishing waters. I don't know why people are getting excited about this. Well, I do know why, but that's okay. Let's pull this on out here. All of the red that you see along the coast of North Carolina is coastal fishing waters. All of it. You can't flounder fish there. Now we'll go on up the coastline. You can go from the South Carolina border. Let's zoom on in, going on up the Cape Fear River, going on up New River, going on up White Oak River. Look at all that. All of this is closed. You can't do diddly squat. Well, let's go back down here to the Wilmington area, the Cape Fear River. I'm zooming on in. All of that is closed. Now, finally, you see some blue there. That's where you're getting into the joint waters. You can flounder fish there. And as we go on up past north of Leland, you can see where it's got the little lines. You can flounder fish there. But all these other areas are closed to flounder fishing. Now, and unfortunately for you, they're all hot and heavy for it. You're in the worst places for flounder. Now, yes, if you saw the flounder symposium specials that we did, flounders have been tagged and recaptured west of like Kinston. So yes, they do migrate on up, but what did you win? You get 2 weekends, that's it, 4 days, that's it, 1 fish per day, that's it. It's got to be at least 15 inches. You're in the worst possible places to be doing it. So why, and you're supposed to be conservation minded. So why are you so happy about this? Well, the only thing I can think of is, one, you think you're sticking it to the Division of Marine Fisheries. It's a victory against the man. And speaking of victory against the man, this is what you think is a victory against commercial fishermen. Okay, this makes no sense to me. You're in the worst locations. You only get a couple of days. You're highly restricted. 1, in the size, good luck. Why? And again, you call yourself conservation-minded and belong to conservation organizations. Do you hate commercial fishermen that much? Do you hate the Division of Marine Fisheries that much? Do you just really got to stick it to the man? Is that what this is all about? Well, you ain't going to win. I mean, with that type of attitude, that's the type of attitude that posts profanity whenever you don't hear anything that you want to hear. Let's talk science. Let's be rational. Again, I'm a flounder fisherman. That's my number one. I'm a creek sneaker soundbounder. That's my most favorite fish to go after. I'll gladly forsake 2 days or 2 weekends, in those areas. Now, it'd be completely different if they opened up everything. They did not. It's just in those little tributaries. Speaking of which, let's zoom on in. You can see these little tributaries, head ends of creeks and all, is where you're able to fish. As a friendly reminder, this is also important, and I talked about this 2 weeks ago. The Division of Marine Fisheries made it very, very clear. If you go flounder fishing in these joint or inland waters, and you cross the magic line with that flounder in your boat, you're going to get a ticket if caught. Oh, there is a good thing. Let me see if I can... The Wildlife Resources Commission will be conducting a flounder harvest creel survey during the open season. How about that? It's 2 weekends. It's 4 days. There's your season. At various boating access areas, we look forward to speaking with anglers to better understand fishing effort and flounder harvest during the shortened season, said Corey Oakley, with the Assistant Chief of Inland Fisheries with the Wildlife Resources Commission. So they're going to be somewhere, that's what they say, checking, wanting to take a look at your flounders and all that kind of stuff. And that's great. Love on-the-spot surveys. And that's something else I think it was last week we talked about, getting people out there looking. Some fisheries, there are no observers, none. Some fisheries, there's 100% observers. This is wonderful. Hi, I'm here. This is where I caught it. This is what's happening. Perfect. So I'm glad that I'd like to know how many ramps that they will be at. But please, folks, 2 things. One, you see 2 red flags on the beach, don't go in the water. Pine Knoll Shores is writing citations if they got to come get you. I don't know of other beaches that are doing the same thing, I'm sure, but just for common sense, safety's sake, please stay out of the water. 1 flag means they're recommending you don't go in the water, but 2 flags, stay out of the water. The other thing, if you cross over, get caught in coastal fishing waters with a flounder, you're gonna get a ticket during your 4 days of fishing. And tell me, why do you consider this a victory? Why? Is it because of the flounder? You just got to go flounder fishing so bad? Or is it because you're sticking it to DMF? You're sticking it to the commercial fishermen, you think? Remember, keyboard clowns, keep the profanity away. And if you ask me, who's paying you? The commercial fishermen. Keyboard clown, I've already addressed it. All right, Bill Hitchcock, send me program ideas. Send me documents. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Excuse me. Send me the proof. Let's talk about it. You got a show idea? Fine. Send it to me. BillHitchcock@mail.com, BillHitchcock@mail.com, BillHitchcock@mail.com. Until next time.